Hey BookTube, it's Kim at Middle of the Bookmarch, and this is my second video in the 24 and 24 duology. What I'm doing next year is I am planning on reading 12 project books in fiction and 12 project books in nonfiction. And last week I posted my fiction video. I will link it down below. Today's video is my nonfiction picks, and I picked out 12 books that I would love to read next year in nonfiction. So I figure if I read a novel and a nonfiction book every month, one of each, then I will finish throughout the year. My problem is a lot of these books are huge, and those are probably the ones I would save for last. So I don't know how fast I'm going to read through these. I don't know if I'm going to read them all. I wanted to kind of have a list to pick from of books that I really want to get to, my project books, that's what I'm calling them. So let me show you what I have. The first one is Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, and this Library of America edition also has other writings on the environment. Silent Spring has been around for a very long time, and I've wanted to read it for a very long time. And I absolutely love these Library of America editions. Silent Spring was originally copyrighted in 1962. And this is her on the back. That's a picture of her. I absolutely love collecting these Library of America versions. Rachel Carson is a very well-known environmental author. Silent Spring is iconic, and I really, really want to read this next year. I don't even think it's that long. I don't think it is. Let's see. No, because it has a lot of notes in the back. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, this is the first one on my list of project books and nonfiction that I would love to get to. Okay, this next book, I have had this book on my shelf for the longest time. This may be the book that I've had on my shelf for the longest. Let me see when it was published. Copyrighted in 1997. Now, as you know, I unhaul a lot. This book I've had for an uncountable number of years, and I need to finally get to it. I've heard such great things. This is Katherine Graham, Personal History, winner of the Pulitzer Prize. Katherine Graham was she piloted the Washington Post through the crisis of the Pentagon Papers and Watergate in an era where women simply did not do something like that. And I need to get to this. I need to read this book because how long is it going to languish on my shelves? I've had it years ago. I unhauled it. I found a pristine library copy for $1 in paperback. The hardcover was super heavy, so I picked it back up in paperback, and I need to read it. I think that would be one of the ones I automatically read next year. Even if I only read one nonfiction book for this project next year, that will probably be the one. This next one is The Evangelicals, The Struggle to Shape America by Frances Fitzgerald, who also won the Pulitzer Prize. This is, in this major work of American history, distinguished historian Frances Fitzgerald describes the profound ways in which evangelicals have shaped our nation, our culture, and our politics. Her sweeping and authoritative account gives us the whole picture for the first time. The story, brilliantly and colorfully told in The Evangelicals, is a vital part of how the country came to be what it is. If you live in the U.S., and if you follow U.S. politics, you will understand how powerful the evangelical lobbyists are, and not even just the lobbyists, the evangelical conservative Christian cultural phenomena in this country. You will know how much power they wield, how much influence they wield for a very small number of them. So this is fascinating to me. With a theology degree. This is fascinating to read the connection between religion and politics. So we'll see if I get to that one. This one I just recently hauled from a library sale, but I don't remember, and I've never owned it, but it's been on my reader for such a long time. It was published in 1999. This is Galileos Daughter by Dava Sobel, a historical memoir of science, faith, and love. And I've always loved this cover. This is such a beautiful cover. And I was so happy to find this book. Inspired by a long fascination with Galileo and by the remarkable surviving letters of Galileo's daughter, a cloistered nun, a lot of families shut their daughters away in nunneries. Dava Sobel has written a biography unlike any other of the man Albert Einstein called the father of modern physics, indeed of modern science altogether. Galileo's Daughter also presents a stunning portrait of a person hitherto lost to society, lost to history, described by her father as a woman of exquisite mind, singular goodness, and most tenderly attached to me. Yep, that's fascinating. I'm all over this one. And what a great copy. It was $1 at a library sale, and it is just in brand new condition. Oh, this one, I think I also got this one at the same library sale. This is The Revolutionary, Samuel Adams by Stacy Schiff. Stacy Schiff is also a Pulitzer Prize winning author, and I don't have to say too much about this one. It's a biography of Samuel Adams written by Stacy Schiff. I've heard different reviews on this book, positive and negative, and Stacy Schiff is a favorite of mine. I read her book Cleopatra, which was excellent, and she's kind of an expert at history. She finds history about historical figures previously unknown or a little kind of undiscovered history. And as far as I understand, Samuel Adams destroyed a lot of his personal letters and personal writings. So she had to do a lot of research to write that book. And that's a newer book. I think it was just published last year. I think it's last year, 2022. And look at those, look at the end papers. This is a beautiful book, beautiful book. Let's see, let's save these two for last. This one, another book about religion, another former library book, Fields of Blood, Religion and the History of Violence by Karen Armstrong. Karen Armstrong is a famous author of religious topics and theology. Let's see, and if I am not wrong, she at one point, I thought at one point she was a nun, but I don't remember if that was her or another author. For the first time, religious self-identification is on the decline in America. Some analysts have cited a cause as post-9/11 perception that faith is a source of aggression, intolerance, and divisiveness, something bad for society. But how accurate is that view? With deep learning and sympathetic understanding, Karen Armstrong sets out to discover the truth about religion and violence in each of the world's great religious traditions, taking us on an astonishing journey from prehistoric times to the present. That sounds awesome. And I love reading religious history. I love reading theology books that are not trite or too conservatively slanted, but Karen Armstrong is a well-known and respected author of theology, so that looks so good. Here's the most intimidating book in my pile, and I actually had this in another video, but this might be the one that I don't get to, even though the font is easy to read, but this is an enormous book, and the content is heavy. This is The Making of the Atomic Bomb by Richard Rhodes. And I read After the Fallout by Diana Preston and just really had a deep amount of respect and awe for that book. And this was part of her bibliography, and I got my hands on it because I was just so intrigued by the topic. And that's the book. And it's only 700 and something pages. It's 750 pages, and that's not including the notes. So we'll see. If I save this for last, I don't want to read this in December. I don't want to read this during the holidays. So maybe I'll attempt this one in the middle of the year. if at all. The next one, this is The Half Has Never Been Told, Slavery and the Making of American Capitalism by Edward E. Baptiste. And who would not want to read this book? I do. Americans tend to class slavery as a pre-modern institution. The nation's original sin, perhaps, but isolated in time and divorced from America's later success. But to do so robs the millions who suffered in bondage of their full legacy. As historian Edward E. Baptiste reveals in The Half Has Never Been Told, the expansion of slavery in the first 8 decades after American independence drove the evolution and modernization of the United States. In the span of a single lifetime, the South grew from a narrow coastal strip of worn-out tobacco plantations to a continental cotton empire, and the United States grew into a modern industrial and capitalist economy. Without the bondage of people in slavery, the country would not be what it is today, economically, culturally, socially, politically. And this book, I'm hoping, will teach me everything about that. And it's, excellent topic. I have 4 more books. This is another book that I've literally had forever, copyrighted originally in 1999. My daughter read a lot of this book in her American history class in middle school or in middle school. And I'm like, if she can read excerpts of this book, what have I been waiting for? Guns, Germs, and Steel by Jared Diamond, The Fates of Human Society. Now, from what I understand, this is a whirlwind tour through 13,000 years of history on all continents, a short history of everything about everybody. The origins of empires, religion, writing, crops, and guns are all here. This contains an enormous amount of American history. And I've said it before, after reading These Truths by Jill Lepore, I realized how inaccurate, how incomplete my learning of American history was. And I didn't grow to appreciate American history as a topic or as a field of study until I was well into adulthood. It was my least favorite topic in school. But now, completely different. I want to soak up everything I possibly can about the history of my country, good and bad. I want the truth. I want to read the accurate historical records of my own country. Some of these books, I'm picking each of these books up, and some of them I've just had or have watched for a very long time, and this is another one. This one wasn't written too long ago, 2015. This is The Silk Roads, A New History of the World by Peter Frankopan. And I think there are a couple other booktubers who just finished this not too long ago. But this is world history. This is far more than the history of the Silk Roads. This book, excuse me, is truly a revelatory new history of the world, promising to destabilize notions of where we come from and where we are headed next. From the Middle East and its political instability to China and its economic rise, the vast region stretching eastward from the Balkans, across the steppe, and South Asia has been thrust into the global spotlight in recent years. In order to comprehend what is at stake for the cities and nations built on these intricate trade routes, Frankopan teaches us that we must first grasp their astonishing past. Again, here's more history, but this is world history, Asian history, Middle Eastern history, and I think we all get a better understanding if we understand the world we live in, and we understand how certain political, economic, cultural, social conditions developed and came about. So yeah, lots of history. The last two, excuse me, no history, all literature. And you're not going to be surprised. You won't be surprised. The first one, George Eliot, A Biography by Gordon Haight. I've tried to read this in the past and I put it down because I knew at the time I did not have the energy to devote to this one, but I'm going to pick it back up. I didn't get very far. My bookmark is in at page 33. but I'm going to read this one. I read a previous biography, and I wish I could remember his name, but I don't. And this book was in his autobiography. Frederick R. Carl was the previous biography I read, and it took me forever. Very dense. So I'm going to pick this one up, and it's in paperback, so it'll be a lot easier to read. And a brand new acquisition for me, The Marriage Question, George Eliot's Double Life by Claire Carlyle. George Eliot lived for more than 25 years with George Lewes, who she considered her husband, even though they were never legally married. And George Lewes was married to another woman with children at the time. And it was a very interesting arrangement. George Eliot considered herself progressive, and they set up house together. They formed a life together. He acted as her manager / agent at times, and she has some definite views on marriage. So this will get read. This will get read for sure. I'm not passing up that opportunity. That is it for my nonfiction project books for 2024. I know what century I'm in. So my 2024 project books in nonfiction, those are the 12 that I have put aside to see if I can get to them next year. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of any of these books, if you've read any of them, and I'm looking forward to reading what you think. I will see you everybody. I will see you all. I will see you everybody. I will see everybody in the next video. Bye.